Hey, Shalom Israel. First and foremost, I want to give all glory, all honor, all praises to Yahawah, Yahweh, to the whole collective Israel. This is your brother Shamashawan coming back with another lesson. And this lesson is regarding tempting Yahawah, right? With this carnal flesh. Remember, the flesh promotes sin, okay? So we have to deny this flesh and not tempt Yahawah, right? Right. So here, let's go to Romans chapter 8, right, and start at verse 5. So this is Romans 8 and 5. It says, "For they that are after the flesh do not mind the things of the flesh, but they that after the Spirit, the things of the Spirit. For to be carnally minded is death." See that? But to be spiritually minded is life and peace, because the carnal mind is enmity against Yahawah Ba'asham Yahushua, for it is not subject to the law of Yahawah, neither indeed can be. So then they that are in the flesh cannot please Yahawah Ba'asham Yahushua. But ye are not in the flesh, but in the Spirit, if so be that the Spirit of Yahawah dwell in you. Now, if any man have not Mashiach Yahushua, he is none of his. And if Mashiach Yahushua be in you, the body is dead because of sin, but the Spirit is life because of righteousness. Okay? It says, "But if the Spirit of him that raised up Mashiach Yahushua from the dead dwell in you, he that raised up Mashiach Yahushua from the dead shall also quicken your mortal bodies by his Spirit that dwelleth in you. Therefore, brethren, we are debtors, not to the flesh, to live after the flesh. For if ye live after the flesh, ye shall die. But if ye through the Spirit do mortify the deeds of the body, ye shall live." So we see that we cannot tempt Yahawah with this flesh. We cannot tempt Yahawah with this flesh, right? So we have to deny this flesh, right? And operate in the Spirit of Yahawah Ba'asham Yahushua. Let's go to the previous chapter, chapter 7, because Paul is experiencing this. Let's go to Romans 7 and 14. It says, "For we know that the law is spiritual, but I am carnal, sold under sin." Paul understands this, okay? Right? 17, it says, "Now then it is no more I that do it, but sin that dwelleth in me." He's talking about the flesh. See, look at verse 18. It says, "For I know that in me, that is, in my flesh, dwelleth no good thing. For to will is present with me, but how to perform that which is good I find not." All right. So we have to continually deny this flesh and operate in the Spirit and not tempt Yahawah Ba'asham Yahushua. Let's go to Psalms and get some instances of how our forefathers tempted Yahawah in the wilderness. Let's go to Psalms 78. We cannot tempt Yahawah Ba'asham Yahushua, right? Let's go to Psalm 78 and 37. Psalm 78, 37, it says, talking about our forefathers, it says, "For their heart was not right with them, neither were they steadfast in his covenant. But he, being full of compassion," Yahawah Ba'asham Yahushua, right, "forgave their iniquity and destroyed them not." That's even now, at this present time, Yahawah's mercy, is new every morning, according to the book of Lamentations, okay? And destroyed them not. Yeah, many a time turned he his anger away and did not stir up all his wrath. For he remembered that they were but flesh. That's that flesh that we have to deny. We just read that over in Romans 7 and then Romans 8, right? We have to deny this flesh, right? And when that passeth away and cometh not again. How oft did they provoke him in the wilderness? It's the same thing that Israel is doing today. There's nothing new under the sun, right? And grieve him in the desert. Yeah, they turned back and tempted Yahawah and limited the Holy One of Israel. Right? 42 it says, they remembered not his hand, nor the day when he delivered them from the enemy, how he had wrought his signs in Egypt and his wonders in the land of Zone, and had turned their lives into blood and their floods that they could not drink. So this is what Yahawah is doing to the enemy there, right? You know, and our forefathers witnessed all of this, but still yet they tempted Yahawah. They did not believe. They were non-believers. Okay. 45 it says, he sent divers sorts of flies among them, which devoured them, and frogs, which destroyed them. Right? He gave also their increase into the caterpillars, and their labor unto the locusts. He destroyed their vines with hail, and their sycamore trees with frost. Yahweh's going to do this place, this current modern day Sodom and Egypt, which is America. He's going to do this place the same way. Okay, right? He's going to destroy this place with fire. So we have to come out of this place according to the book of Revelation, in terms of, you know, spiritually coming out of this place. Yahweh understands that everybody can't leave this place, but if you can, that's a good thing. But if not, then come out of this place spiritually, right? 48 it says, he gave up their cattle also to the hail, and their flocks to hot thunderbolts. Look at 49. He cast upon them the fierceness of his anger, wrath, and indignation and trouble, by sending evil angels among them. This is exactly what you know, Yahawah has done to this place. You know, every foul bird, you know, and devil, you know, and all that wickedness is in this place here, which is America, which is metaphorically Sodom and Egypt. Okay, so we can't provoke Yahawah Ba'asham Yahawah, right? Okay. Let's go to Matthew and get some red letter. Let's go to Matthew chapter 7. Can't provoke Yahawah Ba'asham Yahawah. All right. Let's go to Matthew chapter 7. We're going to get verses 13. This is red letter. See, it says, right. It says, enter ye in at the straight gate, for wide is the gate, and broad is the way that leadeth to destruction, and many there be which go in thereat. Okay, it says, because straight is the gate, and narrow is the way which leadeth to life, and few there be that find it. So now this narrow passage, let's see what this narrow passage is. I think Esdras talks about that. Let's go to 2nd Esdras chapter 7 and look at this narrow path, right? Because wide is you know, destruction in terms of, you know, just this worldly stuff. We have to come out of this world and not tempt Yahawah Ba'asham Yahawah. Let's go to 2nd Esdras chapter 7, and we're going to get verses 3 through 8. It says, and I said, speak on, my power. Then said he unto me, the sea is set in a wide place, right? That it might be deep and great. But put the cast, the entrance were narrow and like a river. Who then could go into the sea to look upon it and to rule it, if he went not through the narrow, right? How could he come into the broad? Now this broad right here is talking about the kingdom. Look at verse 6. It says, there is also another thing. A city is builded and set upon a broad field, and is full of all good things. The entrance thereof is narrow, and is set in a dangerous place to fall, like as if there were a fire on the right hand, and on the left a deep water, and one only path between them both, even between the fire and the water, so small that there could be one man go there at once. So this is what Mashiach Yahawah was talking about, right? In terms of, that straight and that narrow, right, which is the righteousness of Yahawah Ba'asham Yahawashi, and just completely, rejecting all worldly stuff, because this flesh tries to consume us. We read earlier that we cannot live in this flesh. If we live in this flesh, we're dead. We can't provoke Yahawah Ba'asham Yahawashi, okay? We can't provoke him, right? So let's go back to Matthew 7, right? So we understand that straight gate, okay? Narrow, right? Which is it, okay? It leads to righteousness or the kingdom. Let's go to back to Matthew 7. We're going to pick it up at verse 17. It says, right, so we have to understand, that we cannot provoke Yahawah Ba'asham Yahawashi. So our behavior is going to promote. It's going to promote that. You don't have to say anything. Just your fruit is going to do that. Okay, right. So this is Matthew chapter 7 and 17. It says, even so, every good tree bringeth forth good fruit, but a corrupt tree bringeth forth evil fruit. A good tree cannot bring forth evil fruit, neither can a corrupt tree bring forth good fruit. Every tree that bringeth not forth good fruit is hewn down and cast in the fire. This is the lake of fire right here. It says, wherefore by their fruits ye shall know them. So if you see somebody, who's a hypocrite, right? They say one thing and do another, that's the fruit that he's bearing or she's bearing. That's that evil fruit, right? 21, it says, not everyone that saith unto me, Lord, Lord, shall enter into the kingdom of heaven, but he that doeth the will of my Father which is in heaven. Many will say to me in that day, Lord, Lord, have we not prophesied in thy name? And in thy name have cast out devils, and in thy name done many wonderful works? And then will I profess unto them, I never knew you. Depart from me, ye that work iniquity. So, we have to be fervent in the spirit of Yahawah Ba'asham Yahawashi. We can't be hypocrites. Okay, we can't tempt Yahawah Ba'asham Yahawashi. Your nay has to be nay, and your yea, yea. Okay, can't be hypocrites. Provoking Yahawah Ba'asham Yahawashi. Let's go to the book of Luke. Let's go to Luke chapter 12. We cannot provoke Yahawah Ba'asham Yahawashi. This is exactly what Israel is doing this day. Even those that say they're in the truth. But again, we just read, you're going to tell the fruit by its tree. All those that say, you know Yahawah Ba'asham Yahawashi, but you do the contrary. You tell, somebody something and you don't even, live up to that. What is that? Okay, that's a hypocrite. That's what that is. Let's get that right quick. Let's go over to the book of Sirach right quick, right? So, because, this is tempting Yahawah. When you tell your brother something, and, you expect it, to adhere to that. Now, we understand that things happen, in this life. We get all of that. However, you're supposed to disclose that with that brother or sister, right? So this is Sirach chapter 1 and 29. It says, "See, be not a hypocrite in the sight of man, and take good heed what thou speakest." Right? Okay? Because we don't want to provoke Yahawah Ba'asham Yahawashi. You're supposed to love your neighbor as you love yourself. Yahawashi talks about that. That's the commandment that Yahawashi had to restore, that love commandment. That Jonathan and David had. Because remember, Yahawah, he breaks the camaraderie in Deuteronomy 28 and 54. that evil eye against your brother, right? So Yahawah has to restore the love and promote that love, right, in Israel again. Okay. Yeah, let's go back to that Luke. Let's go to Luke chapter 12. Let's go to Luke 12, and we're going to get verse 47 and 48. Luke 12. Let's get 47, 48. It says, and that servant which knew his Lord's will and prepared not himself is a hypocrite. It's like it doesn't say that, but that's what it's saying spiritually. It says, neither did according to his will shall be beaten with many stripes, because you know this. If you know what Yahawah expects of us, then you have to adhere to that. Okay, right? We can't provoke Yahawah, and that's provoking Yahawah. Okay, for it says, but he that knew not and did commit things worthy of stripes shall be beaten with few stripes. For unto whomsoever much is given, of him shall be much required. So Yahawah is requiring this and expecting us, to adhere to him. And to whom men have committed much, of him they will ask the more. So, we have to understand, that we have to always glorify Yahawah Ba'asham Yahweh Shai, in our conduct, speech, all of that. Okay? Let's stay in the book of Luke. Let's go to chapter 14. Okay? We can't provoke Yahawah Ba'asham Yahweh Shai, but by our words and our deeds. This is exactly what's happening now. Okay? This is Luke 14 and 26. Right? Let's get it. It says, if any man come to me and hate not his father and his mother and his wife and his children and his brethren and his sister, yeah, and his own life also, he cannot be my disciple. Okay? 27 it says, and whosoever doeth not bear his cross and come after me cannot be my disciple. So we have to deny all of this worldly stuff, right? We have to deny all this worldly stuff, okay? Family members, wives, mothers, father, whoever, okay? Right? So we have to do something before we even consider this, in terms of repenting, and giving our total lives to Yahawah Ba'asham Yahweh Shai. Y'all hear those sirens out there. Yahawah's not playing, okay? And slack about that. But, this is real. We're here in Babylon. This is what it is, okay? We can't tempt Yahawah Ba'asham Yahweh Shai. Right? So 28, we must consider, right, and sit down. It says for Luke 14:28, it says, for which of you intend to build a tower, sitteth not down first and counteth the cost. So we have to count the cost here, whether he have sufficient to finish it. Okay? Right? You have to count that cost. You have to sit down, and analyze everything and understand that this is our job, right? This is just not something that we just pick up every now and then. Our whole life is, it's based on Yahawah Ba'asham Yahweh Shai and pleasing him and glorifying Yahawah Ba'asham Yahweh Shai. 29, it says, least happily, after he have laid the foundation and is not able to finish it, all that behold it began to mock him, right? Saying, this man began to build and was not able to finish it. So we don't want to, be the unprofitable servant, okay? And doing those things. We have to understand that when we come to do this, we have to understand we're giving our entire lives to Yahawah Ba'asham Yahweh Shai, right? We just read that. You have to reject, you have to hate your mother and your father, not like that, what I'm saying? But in terms of not putting anything before Yahawah Ba'asham Yahweh Shai. Okay? Let's go to Luke. Let's stay in the book of Luke. And we'll go to Luke 9. Let's go to Luke 9 and 62. We got to understand this. Brothers and sisters just don't get it. You know, you pray for those brothers. You know, we love those brothers. You know, we admonish those people. You know what I'm saying? We rebuke those people. You know, and you know, it's only Yahawah's will. You know, if people are going to be true to this or not. Okay, we can't tempt Yahawah by Hashem, Yahweh. So this is Luke 9:62. It says, and Yahweh said unto him, no man having put his hand to the plow and looking back is fit for the kingdom of Yahweh. You're not fit. You know, if you're not counting the cost, you know, if you're not rejecting, hating, you know, family members, spiritually, you know, not, you know, going off on the people, but just completely devoting our lives to Yahawah Ba'asham, Yahweh. Because we can't do this. Let's go to this. Let's go to the book of 2 Corinthians 6. Because what will happen is we can't do this. Right? This is 2 Corinthians 6:3. It says, see, giving no offense in anything, that the ministry be not blamed. Because people are going to say, oh man, you know, that man is a hypocrite. That man do that, but he say this. Right? He's a hypocrite. So we don't want to have the ministry to be blamed, you know, for our disobedience. Okay? Let's go to the book of Judith. Tempt not Yahawah Ba'asham, Yahweh. Let's go to the book of Judith. We're going to get Judith chapter 8. Judith 8. And we're going to get verse 14. This is Judith 8:14. It says, for ye cannot find the depth of the heart of man, neither can ye perceive the things that he thinketh. Then how can ye search out Yahawah, that have made all these things, and the mind, and know his mind, or comprehend his purpose? Nay, my brethren, provoke not Yahawah our power to anger. This is why we're in this situation now. So this is what we must need do. Let's go to 2 Chronicles. Let's go to 2 Chronicles. Let me get that. 2 Chronicles 7, and I'm gonna get verse 14. So 2 Chronicles 7:14, it says, if my people which are called by my name, Yasharallah, shall humble themselves and pray and seek my face and turn from their wicked ways, then will I hear from heaven and will forgive their sins and will heal their land. So I pray that this presentation was edifying. You know, provoke not Yahawah Ba'asham, Yahweh. We're not supposed to, you know, we can't continue to tempt Yahawah Ba'asham, Yahweh. Right? Once again, I want to give all glory, all praises, all honor to Yahawah Ba'asham, Yahweh. Shalom.